Ahoy cruise enthusiast. Wow, there is a lot of interesting news going on out there, so I figured we would just talk a little bit about them. I hope you enjoyed the video about being an introvert on a cruise, and of course, the Queen Mary 2 series is still coming out. Before we begin, I guess I should just say this now and get it over with. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below, see if it turns into a rainbow. Don't bother with the bell. I don't do it for anybody, so I am not going to ask it of you. I guess the big news out there. Actually, though, there's two big newses out there. The first one is Costa Cruises, and ta-da! Yes, I just sailed on Costa Pacifica, which is why you see, whatever's going on back here. They apparently have announced a new 50 funny fine for people who take food out of the buffet or out of the restaurant or something like that. They say that apparently the actual text of the notice is not available anywhere, only quotes. People, do better. So, taking plates, trays, or food from buffets or restaurants into cabins, lounges, pool areas, or other public indoor spaces. All right, that is what is prohibited. Okay. Apparently, the people in Genoa have never been on a cruise ship. And I am absolutely serious about this because there is seating by the pool. There is buffet seating by the pool. There's plenty of people seating by the pool. In fact, on Costa Pacifica, there's actually a casual restaurant by the pool. Literally by the pool. So what are people supposed to do? Not eat at the fast casual restaurant? Go into the buffet to have their overpriced and not very good sandwich? Honestly, watch the vlogs. You'll find out. The gelato stand, or the gelato shop, Amaretto's or something like that, it's right next to a lounge. It's basically in a lounge, right? So, yeah, what are guests supposed to do? I mean, I suppose you could corral them, put, hall monitors at the entrance and exit, make sure nobody walks out of there with their gelato. I know that would be such a crime, okay? And the justification they give for this is honestly even more ridiculous. It is to prevent cross-contamination, reducing the spread of foodborne illness, and minimizing hygiene risks. How? How does taking food away from the buffet increase, cross-contamination risks? What are you gonna cross-contaminate it with? People aren't. I don't think they're going to their cabin and then bringing the plates back, because they would just do that in the buffet anyway. So this is just kind of absurd. I know everyone else is probably dragging it. I just want to throw my 2 cents into this kind of ridiculousness. And then of course they say, the room service, which is the exception of getting food into your cabin, room service staff is trained in hygiene and sanitation. Okay, and this is getting a little bit... Okay, yes, this is ridiculous, given the amount of food on a cruise line and its prevalence, especially the buffet and the pool and the lounges. I don't know. This is just... I'm trying to think if there was another fast casual place on Costa Pacifica. No, there was nothing down below decks on Costa Pacifica, but this wouldn't fly on a lot of other cruise lines that actually do have like dining and food available downstairs. Like even on Carnival at the Java Blue, I'm pretty sure they have sandwiches and cookies and cupcakes. So, they have crepes at the gelato stand on Costa Pacifica. So we're not allowed to take our crepes into the lounge next door? Wow, that's pretty... That's pretty... No, that's not going to happen. So, yeah. Now, I will say that if they just implemented a policy, like among the crew, to politely inform guests that it's not allowed to bring food into the lounges, like the lounges, the bars, that I would be okay with. That I actually would be perfectly okay with. But actually, no, because Costa, or Carnival Firenze, formerly Costa Firenze, has the... it's not a taco stand. Not a burrito. That's not an enchilada shop. It is the empanada shop. Yes, they had an empanada shop in the main lounge. Well, not the main lounge, but on the main deck. So they actually serve you food. There's actually a kitchen in this space. What's up with that? Yeah, so apparently nobody really thought this through. But yes, if they were to just simply politely disallow food brought into the lounges, I actually would be okay with that. So there you go. But into the cabins. Now, mind you, I have said on many occasions that I do find the policy of certain cruise lines, Carnival and Disney, where they tell you to just leave the dirties like outside. Ew, gross. I don't do it. I do not even on Carnival or Disney. I leave all my dirties in the stateroom where they belong. I'm not participating in that. But so anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that's right. I do think that's a little bit gross, but come on, people have been taking food back to their staterooms forever. I mean, I have had to do it on a number of occasions. If the late night snacks close early, what are we supposed to do? Now, granted, I guess a lot of the speculation out there is this is just to drive room service sales, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up. If they get the intended effect, they're just going to start disappointing more people because the room service is going to be delayed. And, if even, it was a fabulous experience, but, even a couple nights on Crystal Serenity, they were having trouble keeping up with room service orders, and that's an ultra luxury cruise experience. So Costa being able to keep up with late night room service orders, not going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen. So here is what I predict will happen. The people on board are actually not going to do this. They're not going to actually fine anybody. They might threaten it, which is kind of even worse, right? It's one thing to just politely tell people, but then to have a fine looming over you, no. But they're just not going to do it. And then someone in corporate is going to look at the numbers and they're going to be like, well, why are we not collecting this fine? And then a commandment is going to go down, and all of a sudden, 2 years later, they're going to start imposing the fine, and people are going to freak out again. Yeah, and then they're just going to look even worse. So, that's how these corporations, work. I know it's completely inexplicable, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that. Well, okay, put it. I'm not sure that's what's going to happen. That is definitely a possibility. So, how can we combat this? Okay. Well, Costa is not in the U.S. market at all. They don't even sail out of Miami anymore. But so I don't know if any of our European friends will ever see this. But one thing you could do is, since you don't want to break the rule about taking food back to your cabin, if they still offer it, it's kind of hard to find out. But if they still offer it, just order the continental room service every morning. Every morning. Put the little thing out. They'll deliver it, and now you have some legal snacks in your cabin. There you go. Now, if you don't eat it, you don't eat it, but you definitely don't want to break the rules by bringing anything back from the buffet. So there you go. And then the people in Genoa are going to start scratching their head about why there's a spike in complimentary breakfast orders and why nobody is eating it. Well, it's because nobody wants to break the rules. Okay. Now, why do things like this happen? I tell you, it's very simple. It's probably a new metric. Maybe this came from Carnival Corporation, or maybe just some finance guy in Genoa, figured it out. I would speculate something like this happened. They started counting, or they put out a survey. They just asked the people in the scullery to count the dishes and stuff like that were brought in by housekeeping to be sorted. That was it. So they tracked this for some period of time, and then they figured out, okay, on average, we get this many plates, this many cups, this many blah, 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 whatever. And then some bean counter went and extrapolated a cost to this activity. And they figured out that, oh my God, it actually costs us $20,000 to collect plates from the rooms. Okay, now it doesn't actually cost them anymore. They have just found a way to quantify that cost. And when you quantify the cost, now another manager is going to try and cut that cost. So somebody in Genoa actually thinks they're going to be able to cut or save $20,000 or whatever the number is by doing this. No, you're not going to do that. This is such a minor and spread out incremental cost. It's just not going to work. That's not how things work. But it's just, they have this telemetry and they just don't know how to use it. A lot of companies don't know how to use it, right? They get all this information and they just make bad decisions based on it. So that's what happened. So, all right, if you're a Costa cruiser, let us know if you've been threatened with the 50 funny E fine and whether or not you will pay it, and whether or not you are going to order the complimentary room service breakfast every morning just so you don't violate the rules, right? Just saying, there is your option to avoid all of that. Big story number 2, Royal Caribbean has been denied environmental permits to build Perfect Day Mexico in, I was about to say Cabo Rojo, but in Quintana Roo, that's the Mexican state. I don't even know what the port is. I think I've only been there once. And after how many years has this been going on? 2 years? They finally said no. And the statement is what you would expect from a politician. I would like to inform, this is Alicia Barcena, the environmental minister. I would like to inform you that the Royal Caribbean Perfect Day project will not be approved. We know that the company is also seeking to withdraw from the project. That's very curious. But we as CEMART, that's the Mexican Environmental Authority, will not approve it. Okay, this is unusual. Usually things like this don't just happen out of the blue. And usually these corporations usually have everything in place before they go ahead with big purchases. I mean, Royal Caribbean already spent over $200 million on the Costa, that's what it is, on the port infrastructure, which they now own. Okay. So what are they going to do with it? Now, of course, these giant corporations, they issue a statement. Royal Caribbean said, over the coming weeks, we will re-engage stakeholders. I'm getting so sick of that word, stakeholders, to move forward in a way that delivers shared prosperity. What? Who wrote this? Through the development of essential environmental infrastructure, the creation of thousands of local jobs, and community programs that support the people of Mexico. This is basically what they capitulated to a few months ago when the judge blocked the project, right? Loss of environmental infrastructure, jobs, and everything. That's what they all say. So that's not necessarily surprising, but it is very strange that this even happened. Because like I said, usually before they make such large investments, they will have all of the ducks in the row. They will make sure all the checks have cleared and everything is ready. Now, of course, there is the extreme probability that maybe Royal Caribbean just got fed up with the process. Maybe they just got fed up with the process in Mexico, right? The special process that they have to go through, and they just said no. And this is the result, right? That's just kind of what happens. Of course, I actually think a bigger part of it than most people would think. I know, and people are like, wait, he's not saying it's a conspiracy? No, I actually think this is the government of Mexico trying to appear legitimate. Like actually trying to appear like the legitimate government of a first world nation. And this has to do with the whole North American thing and, their relationship with the United States. They're basically blustering over this because it sounds like it makes them look good. Even the president, Scheinbaum, made a statement on this. So, I think they're trying to fill shoes that are still too big for them. And that's really what's going on here. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe Royal Caribbean will just capitulate. Maybe they will just start redeploying the fleet somewhere else. I'm sure, Belize or Honduras or whatever would like the traffic. But I have another suggestion. I just want to remind everybody, made the video a while ago about this. But Royal Caribbean, it's very, very simple. I think you probably already know this because you have seen it. Literally, I know you have seen it. So I absolutely guarantee that across your 2 offices here in Miami, right, at least 10 people went to high school with Marco. You find them, who's the closest one, you give them a call, right? And actually, you know what? They probably take a call from the CEO anyway, right? And you tell them, hey, Marco, you know what? We are absolutely 100% behind the America's effort to bring freedom and prosperity to Cuba. Absolutely. That Royal Caribbean, that is your backup plan. I think that's the backup plan for the entire cruise industry because it's becoming pretty apparent that, the people in Mexico and especially the Bahamas are getting pretty uppity. Every year, it's just more taxes, more fees, more regulations. And I think the cruise lines are right to feel a little bit fed up over it. As cruise passengers, we should be fed up with it. And I think Cuba is going to be a tremendous opportunity as long as it lasts, and with the right people in charge, which we have. I think for a very long time, Cuba will be the premier focus of development of the cruise infrastructure here, in the Southeast United States for a very, very long time. So when Cuba is free, hopefully very, very soon, right, we can have perfect day Cuba because they want it and they need it a whole lot more. And Mexico, well, you had your chance. This is all about, by the way, Texas. This is all about the development of the cruise industry in Texas, simply because from Galveston, there's not really a lot of places to go. They can just go to Mexico on longer cruises. Maybe they can make it over to Perfect Day at Coco Key or even Nassau or the Cayman Islands. But any short cruise, it's Mexico, Belize, and maybe Roatan. That's it, because it's at least a day crossing the Gulf of America. And Cuba is right there. So they can do it, right? So there you go, Royal Caribbean. The solution to this problem is to just forget about the Mexicans. Oh, by the way, there's already a water park there. It's not open anymore, but there was already a water park there. So I don't know what they're on about. Cuba. Yeah. So bye-bye Mexico, hola Havana. Number 3, I thought this was just interesting. Princess Cruises, this was a few days ago, they announced an agreement with Italian shipbuilder Fincantieri again for the construction of 3 new next-generation cruise ships as part of the upcoming Voyager-Class platform. That's right. After only 2 copies, they are giving up on the Sphere-Class. The new builds are scheduled for delivery, and this is a long time. I think somebody's in the doghouse for late 2035, 2038, and 2039, respectively, and will become the largest ships in the Princess Cruises fleet by passenger capacity. Okay. However, the new vessels will seamlessly blend the most desired and highest rated venues from Princess Cruises. Venues Princess Cruises is known for, with completely reimagined outer decks, staterooms, and piazza designs that cater to the brands, global travelers, and diverse deployments. Okay, so I do find it interesting that they are giving up on the Sphere-Class after only 2 copies. I made it no secret that I find Sun Princess to be a relatively poorly designed cruise ship. There's just lots of dead ends, lots of really bizarre uses of space, and you know, it was drab, it was boring, right? The palette is very gray, very muted. I think they were trying to go for a luxury look, but you know, at least Celebrity has like these pops of color everywhere and pops of art everywhere. Like Sun Princess just didn't have that. And then it's this weird clashing mix of materials and shapes, like the different shaped glass on the Sphere versus the balconies, and then the weird like global patterns like on the inside, and then the tile, whatever. None of it goes together, and that tells me absolutely that there was no gay man involved in the design of Sun Princess, and it definitely shows. So they are giving up. It is unusual, by the way. It is very unusual that a cruise company give up on a design after only 2 copies, because they put a lot of money into designing these, and they do expect to spread that investment out over multiple builds. Really, the only recent similarity, well, it's not even recent by now, was a Norwegian Epic, right? 1 copy. And I think that actually was not designed by Norwegian. It was something else that other people had commissioned, and Fincantieri offered it to Norwegian like at a discount. And Norwegian was right to be like, yeah, we'll take the 1 and that's it. No more. Because that is also a very weird ship. And everything wrong with that, they fixed with the Breakaway class. And hopefully Princess will be able to correct everything with this new Voyager-Class, another Voyager-Class. Wait, isn't that the Royal Caribbean class? Yes, it is all the Royal Caribbean Voyager-Class. Come on, guys, come up with something new. Which reminds me, by the way, the little tiff between Royal Caribbean and Princess over the word star. Princess had it first, right? Star Princess was a cruise ship back in the 80s, so yeah, that's definitely a win for Princess. So, yeah, some people, by the way, before you chime in the comments, comment below what you think about this, if you like Sun Princess. Some people might say, well, MSC did the same thing with the Seaside and Seaview, but not really, because they ordered, there's 4 of those Evo class ships, and the only major change was they swapped the location of the buffet and specialty restaurants, which I actually think was kind of good. But, and MSC, by the way, all their other classes of ships until the Meraviglia was 4 ships. So the fact that they only ordered 4 of those is kind of normal for them, which is weird. There's like 8 world-class ships on order, right? And as for Princess, 2 is an outlier, right? There were 9 Grand class ships and 6 Royal class ships, which I still have to take a ride. I know. So, well, there you go. Princess Cruises is giving up on the Sun Princess, and I think that is a great move on their part. Okay, the 3 cruise stories over the past couple of days that I found very, very interesting. Let me know, and let everyone know down in the comments what you think of Costa's new move to charge cruisers 50E for taking food out of the buffet. What is up with that, guys? What do you think Royal Caribbean is going to do about Perfect Day Mexico? And would you take a cruise to Perfect Day Cuba? And whether you are looking forward to a new Princess Cruises cruise ship, and what is your favorite class of Princess cruise ship? I'm sure everybody would love to know. So, regardless of what class of cruise ship you are on, whether or not you are sneaking food out of the buffet, or whether we are riding water slides in Cuba one day, I definitely hope to see you out of the cabin.